my crafty friends, it's Andrea from Prairie Sky Papercraft, your independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Manitoba. We are creating with reinkers today. I've got watercolor paper here, and I've got a little bit of real red on my brush. I'm just going to kind of rub it down. We're just going to create a background with this. So the water painter I've got filled with water. And I'm not being too terribly picky with how I'm adding the color at the moment. You want to make sure that you've got a really good coverage, a really good pool. And I'm taking it directly off of the reinker. I'm just kind of plopping it around. You want to be a little bit light-handed with the reds, because if you're not, it doesn't flow as smoothly as some of the other colors do. I'm just going to kind of get the very tip of my brush in there. A little bit of flicking. Am I making a mess? Yup. Am I liking how it's turning out? Yeah, I kind of am, actually. Will I need to wash my hands later? You betcha. All right, so we're just going to kind of flick it around. Now, I did try earlier, just by adding the ink directly onto the paper, and you can see it really didn't flow very well, but I did have quite a bit on the paper. And I'm just going to kind of blend it a little tiny bit, and then I'm going to grab, what is this? Flamingo, Flirty Flamingo. I'm going to add just a little. There we go. I'm not squeezing, I'm just kind of tapping it in a couple of different places. And then I'm going to add, oops, get the lid back on it before it rolls away. I'm going to put the lid back onto our real red because I think I'm done with that now too. And then we're just going to add, oops, a little bit of water, get our colors kind of blended a little. Now I did cut this a bit longer than what I needed because I wasn't sure what I was going to end up with. And heat tool, let's hope that it's plugged in. Success. All right, and we're going to dry it. Now, if you were going to stamp directly with the Stays On ink, you wouldn't really have to dry it as much, but because I'm going to be using Memento, which is a water-based, okay, well, that's lovely. Not sure what happened there. Because I'm using a water-based ink, I want to make sure that I'm dealing with a fairly dry surface. You can kind of see where the water is pooling, and as you're moving the water around as well, you can see that it'll create different areas, different highlights, and different textures. And as it curls, you can flip it over and it'll uncurl the other way. Now, if I wasn't doing a demo right away, I would leave this on my desk for probably a day with a heavy stamp block on top of it so that any waffling or wobbles in the paper would not come or would flatten out. But since I'm not very patient and I want to show you the finished idea that I have in my head, we're going to do this right away. Okay, so we've got this done. I'm going to grab my trimmer. Actually, I'm going to move this saturated piece out of the way first, because I don't really want that picking up. There, that's better. Okay, so I've already cut it to 4 inches wide. And I actually kind of like this edge, so I think this is the edge that I'm going to use. And we're going to cut it to 3. Yeah, there we go. Now you can use this with any color. It's really fun to grab your reinkers and see what you can create with them. Yeah, they're great for reinking your stamp pads and your markers and playing with, but you can absolutely use it as a paint palette as well. And of course there's dimensional backs because they're everywhere. Okay. Now I want to make sure that I've got a really good ink surface. So I like applying the ink pad to the ink or to the stamp. This way I can make sure that it's got a really good impression and it's exactly where I want it to be. So I'm going to kind of overlap, put right to the bottom, give it a push, straight up, and then ink up this guy. The stamp sets that I'm using for this one are the Painted Poppies, and I'm also going to be using Waves of Inspiration for our sentiment today. Okay, so that's off to the side. The sentiment that I've chosen is Your Strength is an Inspiration. So I'm going to ink this guy up and apply it there, I think. That moment of panic when you're not sure if you put your stamp on right side up. And I do realize that I can completely prevent that by actually putting the sticker on the back of my stamp. I just haven't gotten around to doing that on this one yet. And I'm going to stick this guy back. So my resolution with our new catalog was as soon as I'm done with something, it goes back into the stamp case. Then the whole stamp case gets opened after I'm done a video and it gets washed. Okay, so Your Strength is an Inspiration. We've got it here for our real red. I'm going to grab, whoops, our tape. Now, because I've added water to this paper and it's a little bit waffly, I am putting a little bit more ink on it than I normally would, which is perfectly fine. Not ink. Oh my gosh. Tape. Clearly, my brain has taken leave of me for a minute. It's all good. All right. That's really pretty. I really like how that turned out. So we're going to place that onto our basic black piece. And then for this one, because we've already really reinforced it with tape between the watercolor paper and the red, I'm just going to do our usual top to bottom. Okay. And I'm going to grab our bone folder and give this a really good push. And then, oops, thought I had a piece already cut, but I don't. So I'm going to grab this, grab our trimmer, and then I'm just going to cut it 1/4 of an inch smaller for our inside layer. So it'll be 5 1/4 by 4. 4 inches. And then if you wanted to, you could stamp the inside with whatever sentiment you wanted to. You could, stamp it with another one of the images out of the stamp set or something completely different and totally tailor it to the person that you're making it for. There we go. Okay, so there's our card almost finished. It needs a little something. You know what? I had the black matte dots out, but I think we're going to use these ones. These are the rustic metallic adhesive back dots. They're with the He's the Man suite that is in the new annual catalog. I love these dots. I really like anything that looks like a brad. So it just kind of adds that, I don't know, it's just grounds it and kind of gives it a little bit of bling without being in your face. So there you go. I hope that you'll try doing a little bit of playing with some reinkers. This isn't a technique that I do often, but when I start playing with it, I really love to play with it for quite a while to come. As always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you're notified every single time a new video comes live. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.